No score as we go to the third inning. And for Chicago, top of the order, Adam Eaton, Alexei Ramirez, and Jose Abreu due up. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, joined now by former Indians pitcher Steve Karsay. Back in town, checking out some of your old proteges here.
Yeah, it's nice to be back in town, watching some of the homegrown talent here on the field.
Well, you're not very far because you coached here in Eastlake, right? So you were in town a lot.
That's correct.
All summer long.
All summer long, out in Eastlake, Ohio, coaching the Lake County Captains and a bunch of young men in their first season to play.
That has to be part of the fun of the job, is watching guys, develop, learn something that they can take with them and they make the jump up to the next level.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. You see the progression of these young men as they come in, as whether they're coming out of high school or junior college or college, getting used to the professional ranks, continuing to get better, continuing to develop, and continuing to move level to level, to help the big league club win.
Give us a little scouting report on some of the guys you had this year.
Yeah, we our first round pick from a couple years ago, Justice Sheffield, left-handed pitcher.
Right.
Yep. One of the guys who's a power arm, developing his secondary stuff, and very competitive kid, great young man, and look forward to big things from him in a few years.
How tough is it to convince a young pitcher that's coming up having to develop his secondary pitches to get him to use them down there in situations?
It's hard. They're used to coming out of high school or college and being able to blow guys away and just outstuff guys. And they need to value command a little bit more, especially as they get to the higher levels and have to pitch against hitters of this stature.
And I mean, let's say he gets into a situation and he gets into a 3-2 count instead of going with maybe a breaking ball. Would you rather see him use his fastball if that's his number one pitch?
It all depends what type of pitcher he is, what kind of stuff he has, who's he facing, what's the score of the game. I mean, I think situation dictates a lot too, what he's able to do. You got to get used to throwing your secondary pitches when you're behind in the count so you can learn how to do that. I mean, if you're always going to rely on your fastball, the higher you go, the better the fastball hitters get.
Here's Alexei Ramirez, who flied to left his first time up. Well, Cody Anderson is a guy who, made the quick climb through the organization, if you will. He's 25 years old on Monday, but started the year in Double-A. And then next thing you know, he's here in the big leagues, and he's pitched a lot of really big games for this club.
Well, it happens fast. I mean, we try to tell the guys, listen, you never know when your name is going to be called. You just continue to make the strides. You continue to get better from outing to outing. You put in the work. You have good routines. And next thing you know, you get an opportunity at the big league level. When the opportunity arises, you need to take advantage of it and be able to stay here.
This kid knocked the door down, man. In his first 4 starts, he was unbelievable. 7 to 8 innings for his first 4 starts and throwing strikes, and he was not afraid of situations or anything. He's done a really nice job since being here. Yeah,
to his credit, I mean, he's a guy who developed his changeup. That was not his
good one.
Yes, it was not his best pitch when he came into the organization. He's a fastball cutter, and as he got to high A and Double-A, he started to develop his changeup, use it a lot more, and ultimately it's a weapon here in the big leagues against these type of hitters.
I mean, it's got good down movement, going down and away. It's terrific, and he keeps everything down.
Yes, he does. He pitches at the bottom of the zone, and he works off, the plane of his fastball.
Visiting with Steve Karsay, Indians minor league pitching coach. You got to the big leagues quickly, didn't you?
I did.
How old were you when you made your debut?
21.
That's what I thought.
That's nowadays they'd say, my goodness, get them out of diapers at 21.
You're right.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, a lot of high round picks, they start rushing guys to the big leagues. Sometimes it's not to the benefit of the player. I think we do a really good job here within our organization of being able to develop these guys and get them to the big leagues to be successful when they get to this point.
Everybody's different. I mean, Chris Sale got drafted, and the next thing you know, he's in the big leagues. But he was a college guy, so he had a little more seasoning maybe?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, when you have Chris Sale's stuff, I mean, it helps. You're allowed to, you're able to make a few more mistakes within the strike zone when you're throwing 97 with a sweeping breaking ball like that.
And where he comes from. But part of the bargaining chip for Chris Sale was that they were going to rush him to the big leagues to get him to sign. Yeah. And hopefully that was an incentive for him to sign for them, and he did, and he was in the big leagues later that year, so that was all part of it.
Well, my question to you, though, Steve, is when you get to the big leagues, especially at 21, or for any age for that matter, what are the challenges that you face I mean, you've got the stuff, but all of a sudden now the game changes when you get here.
I think the biggest challenge for young players when they get to the big leagues is how fast the game is, how quickly they're able to slow the game down and remain under control. That takes time. It takes experience. Yeah. You have to learn that on the fly sometimes. And I think some of the older guys, veteran guys, or who take you under their wing, so to speak, teach you that the things that you're able to do when the game starts to speed up.
It is funny, and I think a lot of that too when you get caught up is confidence, that you believe you can play up here at this level and that you belong. And once you realize that, hey, I think I'm okay, I can play up here, then it starts to get a little easier, and I think you take a deep breath and everything starts to slow down for you a little bit.
Yeah, when you're able to settle in and have a few good starts and gain some confidence and feel like you belong, like you said, that things become never easier, but they become more relaxed for you, and you start executing pitches a lot more.
You just trust your guy. I mean, you've got a big league catcher back there that knows the hitters. You trust him. You don't start shaking them off and start calling your own game. Eventually you can do that.
Jose Abreu, tough spot here for Cody Anderson. 2 on, nobody out.
This is when he's been shining, though. When he gets into situations like this, Detroit, that one game, 4th and 5th inning, 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Gets the ground ball double play. That first start against Verlander. And he's got a tough hitter right here. Let's see what he does.
Well, he got Abreu to ground to short. His last time up, that would be perfect right here.
Started him off changeup. The big man took the first time up, and now he got him out with something inside. So he was looking for a little swinging room, and it was a great changeup down and away.
It's such an effective pitch when you're able to stay at the bottom of the zone, especially when you need a ground ball to get you out of a situation like this. You got an infield here who's at the top of their game. They're great up the middle, and you want them to put the ball in play.
You make the pitch, they'll turn it.
Did it again. First, there was a time where right-handed pitchers wouldn't throw a changeup to a right-handed hitter. Why is that change, and when did it start to change, that philosophy?
I think you continue to grow with the game, and you find what is the best mix for each individual. I mean, if you have a really good changeup, it doesn't matter if it's left on left, right on right. You're able to work that off your fastball and be able to get guys out front anymore, because you disrupt the hitter's timing and you're able to do stuff like that.
3 in a row. He tripled up.
He didn't give in, but every one of them had quality location. I mean, he didn't make a mistake with his changeup. He buried it down in the zone, and every pitch was down. If he was going to hit that ball, it would have been on the ground. He made 3 quality changeups right in a row, and he gets the strikeout to one of the league's best hitters.
So what you're saying is it's not so much the philosophy of it, it's how your changeup plays.
That's correct. I mean, you're watching a guy here. His changeup has some depth to it. So when it has some depth to it and changes some planes, you're able to get the ground ball and do what you need to do. And then he comes back and starts the next guy off with a fastball and has got a second out of the inning.
2 down. Eaton will tag and move to third. Ball gets away, but nobody else will advance. And now they've got to figure out a way to get Trace Thompson out. This guy's been swinging it very well against Cleveland.
Yeah, he has. Well, there's a break. You let him put it in play, and he hits it at somebody. That's all right. You get an out. Out number 2 and a chance to get out of the inning.
Has your venture into coaching been rewarding? Has it been what you thought it was going to be?
Everything and more.
Yeah.
You get so much satisfaction of watching a guy from the time he comes into the organization and then see where he's at 3 and 4 years later. This going into next year will be my 5th year in the organization.
Right.
And I've got to see a lot of guys develop. Ryan Merritt being in AAA now. Had him my first full season in Lake County in 2013, and now he's on the brink of being able to possibly break in here. So it's very rewarding to watch these guys grow as young men and get to where they want to be.
Yeah, it's got to be gratifying because you follow them every step of the way, right? When they've been with you, you stay tuned and see what's going on. Are you doing anything this winter out in Arizona? Anything in the fall league or anything like that?
No, I'm not. But we have We have our fall development program coming up here next week when the big league team goes on the road. I'll be here with all of our top prospects and get them accustomed and comfortable to coming into a stadium like this and seeing what their future entails.
Right.
When they get to the big leagues.
It can be a little scary.
Had you been to a big league stadium before you pitched in one?
Yeah, when I watched the game. Other than that,
yeah, as a fan, right?
As a fan, but it's a whole different story.
Well,
when
some
you walk
guys
out
have
of the field.
never even been as a fan. And some guys, they get drafted. The first time they're in a major league stadium is the first game they play in.
Yeah, I went to one game before I was in the major league stadium. Went to minor league games before when I was a kid growing up, but that was big leagues then.
Yeah, when they walk in the stadium and they see the third deck, it becomes
a
little bit
third
different.
Deck, you're right. Makes a huge difference.
Trace Thompson with White Sox at the corners and 2 down. And now time called before the 1-2 pitch coming up from Cody. Pitch number 50 on the night. Nice pick by Roberto Perez. And the count evens up at 2-2. You had such great stuff, and you talk about outstuffing people when you first came up, blazing fastball, big curveball. When you had the surgery and you came back, did it change your approach? Did you have to think about pitching differently?
I learned how to become a pitcher because the stuff wasn't there when I first came back. So I had to learn how to locate a little bit better, disrupt hitters' timing, and change planes.
Well, Cody Anderson did a heck of a job right there to get out of that inning. First 2 guys reached, then he sets them down 1-2-3. Thanks for stopping by, Carson.
Thank you guys for having me.
Steve Karsay, Indians minor league pitching coach with us. No score, Indians White Sox, middle of the third.